You're listening to the Breakaway Wealth Podcast, the show that helps you build wealth faster, think outside the box, and break out of the herd. Here's your host, Jim Oliver. Welcome back to Breakaway Wealth. I'm your host, Jim Oliver, and with me today, my special guest, Bradley Freedom. Welcome, Bradley.
Hey, Jim. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
First of all,
It's an honor.
Great last name, because we're all about freedom on this show and teaching people how to be not only financially free and wealthy. Wealthy does not mean just rich, but like truly free, because money gives you choices. Choices gives you freedom. And we're all about financial freedom, just personal freedom, medical freedom. I mean, food freedom, man. That's my new thing, is like the food we're eating is poisoning everyone. So it's like, I'm not going to get out on that rant.
It's not even food, man. That's the thing. No, I'll go down that road with you all day long. Oh, yeah.
Well, like when you think about this, okay, somebody explained to me how in 1930, spinach had 13 times more nutrients in it than it does now.
Yep.
We've destroyed our food supply, but
we destroyed the soil. It's the soil. So
it's the soil. Exactly. There's some great documentaries out there on it, but the one thing at 59 that I say to myself, if I want to continue to build muscle and get healthier and healthier and healthier as I get older, which is like, counter to what people think, but I'm telling you, I'm doing it, my food has to increase. And I had a personal assistant that is no longer with me because she couldn't understand that when you go get me something, the least amount of ingredients. Okay. Like, don't bring me almond milk that has 20 different things in it. Okay? Gum does not need to be in almond milk.
Yeah, man. And that's that. Right. And it's a bunch of sugar and the oat milk craze and all that. I mean, there are good brands out there. And that's one of the things that the Freedom People does. And it's part of our community and our membership and everything that we do is we have what's called our clean list.
Oh, I love it.
It's clean ingredients. It's ranchers. So for example, we drive an hour each way to get our beef and milk every Friday. Well, we buy a half a cow at a time anyway, but our Farmer Dung, right? The ranch, we go out there, we know him.
Yeah.
He, like how nature, God intended it, man. Like, don't inject them with things and we don't have to do that. Right.
Yeah.
Like if you go out and you shoot and you hunt an elk, it wasn't vaccinated. You don't have to do these things, but it's the industry that wants to, right. There's a lot of very powerful entities out there that want to keep this status quo going. Right. And obviously they've gotten hold of the government. Because I mean, who puts out that food pyramid? That's not food. Lucky Charms, what they have, and exactly what you're saying is even the things that they say are organic, right? Do you know that it only has to be 95% organic? So there can be 5% of poison in there and it doesn't matter. And a lot of it's just nuts. So anyway, yeah, I'm very passionate about that too. Wealth, but that's where it starts, because health, if you don't have your health, you have nothing else. And the most important thing is putting clean food into your body, right? Garbage in, garbage out.
I heard this thing. It said a poor man wants money and a wealthy man wants health. Because and it's kind of like, and we'll get this segue and have you introduce yourself here in just a second, Bradley. But it's like once you learn about freedom and you're not just a slave and you're not just a cog in the wheel. And you go, and this is what they want you to do, is they want you to go to school, learn all this stuff that nobody really needs to learn, and then go and get a job that nobody really wants. Look, I don't even care if you're a doctor or a lawyer. I mean, like you're still, why would you want a job? Why wouldn't you just have your assets pay for your lifestyle and your standard of living, and then do what you want to do all day long, right? So that's where we're trying to get people, because that takes money, But the thing is that once you get to that point, and I'm not saying that's easy, but anybody can do that part.
Yes.
Then you realize, well, wait a minute. I don't want to die at 85 or whatever it is. I want to live to be 120. And people always laugh when I say, I'm 59 and I say, Bradley, you know what that is? And you say, what, Jim? And I say, halfway. And they go, oh, that's funny. I said, no, I'm being serious. I had a friend of mine say, well, we're in the last quarter of our lives. I said, you might be, but I'm not. Right? Like I'm going to plan like I'm living forever. And and I'm gonna, I just had my lunch. I have my trainer food preps for me. I mean, I drove by 14 different restaurants that have nothing but crap, and I came home. I was starving because I had to do some stuff with my car, and I had my healthy lunch, and I feel great. And it's like, just little things that add up.
Yeah.
But I want to live forever because I want to serve other people. I want to help them learn how to become financially free, but I'm also just free in their thinking. So with that, let me kick it off and have you introduce yourself.
Hey, yeah, Bradley Freedom with the Freedom People, one of the founders, and really just got the Freedom People started. It really started. I was in the military, so I was in the Marines in the '90s, and that's really when I woke up to the fact that the world that was constructed for me isn't necessarily an objective world, is the objective world, right? And of course, so I was a 17, 18-year-old kid, you know what I mean, in the Marines, woke up and realized CNN was lying. And that's kind of a funny joke now, right? Because everybody knows they're just full of, and it's been propaganda, right? But back then you didn't, so I felt like I was in this space and like didn't know where I was. And I was like, dude, I'm in a bad space. Excuse my language. You can bleep that out. Sorry about that. But but I was like, I'm in a place that I do not want to be, and it was a very odd feeling, right? Because just, I mean, months before that, I totally believed and bought everything that I was told, right? And that's really the first step in any type of freedom, Jim. Is you gotta question your environment, you got to question the things around you, right? And it's our our structure, our systems, everything that we do, they're kind of laid out there for us, right? Just like what you guys do, right? With the whole life policies, those have been around forever. But they're and most people, when you first introduce it to them, they think it's a scam or something, and you're just like, absolute. What do you know? This is, and it's because it's so foreign that they could actually not be a peasant. You know what I mean? And that's really, we've gotten into this slave mindset as a people, and that's really what the Freedom People's all about, is trying to make a strong individual, because that's how we're going to get through anything. Is we got to bring back that king of the castle. This is who you are. You actually own your land. These are things that we're really passionate about at the Freedom People.
I love that. It's funny, Bradley. I just literally bought a car yesterday, and so I go in. General manager says, hey, we got some great financing, great leasing options. And I said, oh, that's okay. Like, well, could you tell me like the numbers, because basically I'm going to pay myself what you would charge me. And he goes, I've heard of that. What is that all about? And, and we just started talking a little bit, and I wrote him a check for the car and requested a loan for my policy this morning, and put the payback schedule exactly what the finance company was going to charge me. I gave myself the worst deal because I'm the bank, so I want to make the most money, right? And he called me today and he said, hey, I went on your community and I looked at where do I start? And so I gave him some ideas where to start. And he said, because I'm the worst, I'm the highly, he's a general manager at a really big dealership. He said, I make a ton of money and everything's taxed. And I said, yeah, you're the government's dream, right? Is you make a lot of money, you pay a lot of taxes.
Yep. And as you make more money, they get more. So
millions of those guys. That's who
you're their target customer, 100%.
Yeah, you're the 400-pound person going to McDonald's. You're the target customer. Yep. You're going to eat 2 Big Macs, 2 fries, 2 regular Cokes.
Yeah, and 2 shakes.
Yeah, exactly. So what's funny? When you think about freedom, it has to be everything, right? You can't be a slave in one area. Sometimes, Bradley, when I'm playing golf, you and I are both golfers. We're both passionate about it. We were talking about it before the interview. Your dad was with Ping for 50 years. And Ping's a great company in Arizona. And and I was jealous because you said something about the Waste Management Open. I would love to go out there sometime and check that out. I have friends that go every year from South Dakota, but
anytime, let me know.
Yeah,
seriously, I get your ticket. Let's
I would
go.
I would love to. The thing that
Yeah.
I think about these different states, right? We think South Dakota, Montana. I mean, not Montana really anymore, but like states that are kind of more free, no state income tax, all this stuff. But we get like I grew up in California, right? And
Mm.
you can have it. But and I wasn't like not the California that you see on TV and
Nah,
Malibu
it's
and
different.
everything else. I grew up in the inner city and we were poor. And I would look around and I would say, what are these people that are living in Malibu and Beverly Hills and all these places? What do they know about money that I don't, or that my family doesn't, right? Or my neighbors don't. And I think that one of the things that they didn't really know about money, as wealthy as they are, they're really just lucky. They're lucky slaves.
Mm.
And Malcolm X would say they were the house slave, right?
Mm.
Like,
Yep.
like they're living the better lifestyle than if they were free.
Right.
But the person that's living in the rundown, crime-ridden neighborhoods, they'll die to be free, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some of them will. Most of them think it's not possible.
Right.
So tell me about this transformation in the Marines. And I see the picture in the background in your,
Mm.
I don't, I had such a bad criminal record as a child that they wouldn't let me join the military. So that tells you something. but is that like, what's that called? Like your dress uniform?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's your dress blues. They call
Dress
it
blues. That's what
yeah.
I was looking for. So
Yeah.
just tell me about that transformation. Tell me about that aha moment.
Yeah, it it was so long ago. I don't really remember one aha moment. It was probably something that was just and again, to me it was just I started to notice that the news was making me depressed, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't because it was kind of like part of culture. You'd wake up in the morning, you'd have some coffee, and just you'd throw on the news. Excuse my language. You throw on the news, which was just like mind numbing stuff. That was just constantly like um just it's the squawk box, man. It's just like in World War II, would they just have constant um, propaganda. That's the word I'm looking for. Propaganda running through these squawk boxes, right? The TV, and that's how it still is. And this is kind of back to the health stuff. uh, I've truly believe that we have to cleanse the body of all these heavy metals that we're putting in our body. I mean, it's in our food, our water, our air. It's and as we know, the soil, which that's why it's in the food. It's in everything, and these chemicals that are in the foods, I believe they make you more susceptible to that programming because most people that we know that we experience in the freedom space actually came through the health space, right?
Really?
It's once they've something happened in their life where they had to change their diet. They had something in it. Most of these people, even the most of the venture partnerships and
Yeah.
things that we do with others, they're all health space people, but they started to like they clean the body and the pineal gland, whatever it is that's helping us to see things and think clearly, right? Because
Yeah.
that's really what it is, Jim. I mean, like what you guys do. If you would just be able to think clearly and not rely, that's what we were saying is not rely what's because again, if it's not coming out of that TV, that's a scam or it doesn't exist. And right, they've really got people hooked. Well, again, over generations, right? This didn't just happen. This has been
That's,
generations.
it's funny you say that, Bradley, because I did this thing on changing false beliefs, right? So when you change a false belief, first of all, you have to identify what that false belief is, right? And
Absolutely.
then you have to find out, where did I learn it from? And where did they learn it from? So like,
Yeah.
let's give an example. Like, um, uh, I don't even want to use like the 2% thing or like 2% milk or something because that one will go down a rabbit hole. Like I'm bad, or money's the root of all evil.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And so we were taught if you were poor that the people that were living in the nice houses and everything, they must have done it illegally or
Right. They're drug
unethically or
dealers. Yeah. Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
right? They did something wrong.
And they're bad people. They're
greedy.
bad people. People with money.
Bad people.
Money's. Yep. Yep.
Money is evil, right?
Yep.
And so then, like, what you have to do with that false belief is, I believe that with anything, you have to like treat it like it was in a courtroom. What's the evidence,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
And I would say somebody like who has helped more people, Mother Teresa or Elon Musk? Well,
Mm.
it's easy, Elon Musk, right?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you can point to millions and millions, because she couldn't have helped that many people, because, and so that's where
Hmm.
when you're going to impact people and you teach them these things, it's like, to me, it's like, first you have to like figure out that false belief, debate it like it's in court, and then change that belief to something that's true,
Yep.
right? And I'll give you an idea. Like, when 3 years ago, I said, by the time I'm 60, I'll be 60 in June. I said, I'm going to
Nice.
have abs.
Mm.
And my first trainer laughed at me, fired them. And then the next trainer,
What?
like, like
Oh, what a
this,
jerk.
I fired everybody until I got people that said,
You
we can
can
do
do it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to change your hormones. We got to change this. We got to change that. We got to we got to, you got to eat this way. You got to train this way.
But
You
it's
got to get this.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Impossible is
possible.
not it. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
January 1, I took a picture and I said, boom, I've got abs. Now, they're not abs like a 30-year-old where it's like chiseled, but
Right.
they're at 59, they're abs, and
Heck
you can
yeah.
see them. And what it means is that was just my measure for being healthier, right?
Mm.
So now I'm going to put on 6 pounds to 10 pounds of muscle this year. That's my next thing. And when you start to then like debate, well, I should then have lower calories. Well, is
Mm.
that true? Well, because if I'm tired, because I mean, food is energy. That's all. I mean, right, right.
Yeah.
If I'm tired, then I'm not going to work out as hard. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to build the muscle. I got to have all of these things working. So, okay,
Yeah.
calories. I need calories. Do I
Yeah.
need carbs? Yeah, I need carbs. My body, my muscles, they fill up with water when I have carbs, right?
Yep.
Like, I go through all that stuff, and then um, and when people see how much I eat, they go, well, you're not going to have abs eating them. I said, yeah, because I don't eat any of the bad stuff. Right. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean I don't have a pizza once a month or something like that. But like, because I do love pizza, but I don't eat, ice cream and stuff like, I mean, not a couple times a year. But so like, how do we wake people up? And we're gonna have you talk about your community and just the resources there in a second. But how do you wake somebody up that literally is in the matrix? I mean, literally just wants to be asleep.
Yeah. The short answer is you don't.
Yeah, that's a great
Like
answer.
and that's what I've learned, right? That's why the freedom people, we're here to meet people where they're at. We
Yeah,
we try and have um so we have a lot of animated videos because a lot of the content, a lot of information that we discuss is sometimes rattling to people because just like happened to me when I was 18 years old, I had my complete world exploded, right? And then I spent the next couple decades trying to explain this to other people and trying to, right, because it didn't work at all for a long
yeah,
time. But then 2020 came, right? And so that you meet people where they're at. We hope to be the lighthouse for anybody that's ready to hear the message. And that's the thing is that we found is people kind of find us, and anybody who's listening right now that resonates, like you want to actually have full freedom, right? And that's why we have the 5 pillars of freedom transformation. It's health, wealth, education, spirituality, and law. And we help you to take back your power from all of those, right? Because the whole deal is that we've given our power away little bits over time, right? And it's generations. But so, for example, whose responsibility is it for my health? Oh, it's my doctor,
yours.
right? It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
me, it's my doctor, right? Oh well, education. My kid's stupid, or turns out to be one of these insane individuals, right? So whose fault is that? Oh, it's the teacher. It's school's fault, right? It's the state's fault. So you're going to rely on the state to do everything for you, and then you're going to get upset when they become or you become a product of the state, right? And so that's why it's so important for us to we feel to take this power back, and it's so easy. It's actually really easy. All it is a decision. Like you making these transformations, once you make that decision, and the root word is to decide means to cut off all other options. Once you decide, it's easy, right? I mean, it's a
It is.
decision. Then it's just carrying out, right? Doing the actions is because you've made that decision to do something, right? And it's the same thing here. Is that once you decide, even if your life is a complete dumpster fire, right? And it's just bad, right? Who knows? As soon as you say it's my responsibility,
Yeah.
it's a paradigm shift. Because why now? Because now it's on. Now you can change it. Before that, you couldn't change it. right? And that's where our passion is. And we have these 5 pillars. We've got like some big names we can mention, like David Avocado Wolf and Sayer G from Green Med Info, and they're all guest speakers and part of this, to help really facilitate a space for people that we can meet you wherever you're at. But to your question, you don't try and it's you, I use this analogy. It's like walking into a room, someone's room at 3 a.m. with pots and pans and throwing on the lights and slamming the thing. Are you going to wake up in a good mood? No.
Yeah.
Because and that's what it is. Is a lot of us we want, and it's all well intended. And I was the same way. Up until like about a year and a half ago, I had this like realization that God, source, the world is perfect the way it is. We need the other side. So this reality, this human experience that we're having, whether it's a hologram, whatever it is, we need duality. It we could not exist. So physically speaking, and in physics and biology, we are actually we're closer to music than anything else because we're made from frequency and vibration, right? So
Energy,
at
right?
a cellular level, at an energetic level, we're closer to music than we are anything else, right? And so that's why it's so important for us to live in these harmonies and to learn to create, just to take back our power. And that's really what where you guys stand. And that's why,
Yeah.
Nick and you guys, I mean, we just became instant buddies. I know this is our first conversation, but Nick
Yeah.
told me, he's like, wait till you talk to Jim. So it's an
Yeah.
honor.
Yeah.
But that's really because we're all on the same page. We're like, we're taking responsibility and we're making that decision and we're saying no. And that's the thing is, once you start doing this, once you start learning and you start falling in love with just transforming, because that's die every day. And people, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Die every day. That version of yourself, whoever you believe yourself to be. And remember, imagination and belief, that chair you're sitting on was not a chair and then became an idea. It was
Yeah.
imagined first. Remember, imagination is first. That's why there's been many, like William Blake, like go read William Blake's works, right? From the 1800s and things like that. He talks about, this guy was crazy. He learned physics and never even stepped. He learned all kinds of languages, all kinds of things, never read a book. He did it all from his imagination because he imagined himself learning these things. It's crazy stories, right? But
So
that's how
so
powerful I believe we are.
Einstein says that imagination is more important than knowledge,
Right.
exactly what you just said.
Yep.
But also, JD Rockefeller, this is something that blows me away. Is JD Rockefeller the richest man? Well, not, I mean, since Solomon and that, but richer than anybody is wealthy today. But he grew up super poor in Cleveland, Ohio. And when he was poor, when he was a kid, he had a vision that he'd be the richest man in the world.
Mm.
And he did, right? But, I'm writing a new book right now. I'm right in the middle of it. We're probably about 12 weeks out from release, and it's called Owner Shift. It's these 5 things that you have to do in your brain and your body and everything else to shift, to act like an owner, right? You're not a slave. You're
No.
the owner, right?
You're
You
king.
own this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You own this.
Yes.
And it takes 17 seconds thoughts are energy, right? It takes 17 seconds for energy to attract like energy. So a like thought to attract a like thought. So if you have a negative thought, 17 seconds to attract another negative thought.
Mm.
In 4 thoughts, 68 seconds, it creates momentum, right? And this is all science. So when you have a negative thought in your head, now there's only one thing that kills a negative thought. What is that? A positive
thought. Yeah.
That's right. Positive energy kills negative energy.
Right.
Gratitude. I say this, I pound this into people's heads. If you write down 3 things you're grateful for every night before you go to bed, it is impossible to go to bed angry.
Yeah.
You can't do it. And so,
attitude of gratitude, baby. Yeah.
But what you said too, I gotta address this, because nothing against these guys that write books on habits, okay, and nothing against 21 Days to Form a Habit, but it's all BS. It's the decision. You make that decision. Yep. Sometimes it's made for you. The doctor says you're gonna die.
Yep.
Oh, now I'm gonna start. Okay. I mean, you made a decision. But you get to choose. And you know what? When you make a decision to be healthier, to be freer, it takes effort. It's a participatory sport, right? All the stuff on your community is awesome stuff, but I have to participate. It's not, let me just hire Bradley and have him do it for me.
No.
Hook me up to an IV and I'm good. I don't have to work out.
A pill. Just take a pill. I'm good.
Yeah, I want to take the pill. And then, you have to educate yourself. That takes participation. And just like you said, whether what you want to learn is it's funny, Bradley, something that a janitor told me when I was 18 years old changed my life is, I don't even know if it's true. It doesn't even matter. He said, if you read an hour a day in any subject, in 6 weeks, you'll be an expert.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true, but guess what it made me do?
Read an hour a day.
An hour a day in things that I was interested in.
Yeah.
But if I read about building muscle every day for an hour for 6 weeks, I know more than 99% of the people out there. Of
course.
Right?
Yep.
If about food, think about if I read for an hour a day about how to increase the nutrients in my food or how to find clean food. I mean, just like you said, like I feed my dog raw and somebody will say, well, this kibble's like the best. And I'm like, no, that's that's not what you feed a dog. Right. And my dog's
kibbling me, bro.
Yeah. And they go, your dog looks a little skinny. And I go, no, my dog is ideal weight. Ideal. Yeah. 56 pounds. I know exactly how much that dog weighs. Yeah. Right. And so it's making that decision. It's not building a habit. It's not 90 days to personal power. I mean, well, that's a great program, 90 days to personal power, but it's 90 days of, understanding and accepting and you have to educate yourself. And what's the most important thing that you could educate yourself on? Is how to be happier, how to be healthier, how to be, and look, in my belief system, I believe that the Bible is like the weapon against the enemy. The Bible is the weapon. So if I just have a knife and I don't know what to do with it, then it's not really a weapon. If I have a gun, I don't know how to shoot it. It's not really a weapon. So if somebody threatens me, it's worthless.
Right.
So the Bible, I just have the Bible sitting over here and I don't read it and I don't understand. And I don't understand the power and what God is telling me to do and how to live the best, healthiest life and the happiest life that I can. Well, then that's just a worthless tool. Yeah. It's a worthless weapon. Yeah. But if I study it and I learn and I practice with it, and it doesn't take that much.
No.
30 minutes, an hour a day. Anyway, I didn't mean to
go No, but it's just, it's like you said, it's the decision, right? And you have to want that. If you want to become an expert firearms expert, you can make that happen. If you want abs at 60, you can make that happen. Whatever you want, right? Yeah. And that is actually true. It's just, a lot of people, it just goes back to being powerless. We've been amputated. We've been impotent for so long because we don't know how to do anything without asking nanny state first. And that really, it's gotten so bad. We're like the obedient kids that are in the indoctrination camps. That's not education. That's not what that is. That is indoctrination camps just for you to be obedient, learn how to sit down and shut up and then raise your hand to go potty. And now as adults, we're doing that. That's what's happening.
So think about this. Robert Kiyosaki said that in 100 years, we're going to look back and we're going to feel like it was barbaric to put 40 kids in a classroom for 8 hours a day and make them sit still.
It is.
Like they're not learning anything, right? And I believe now in this world, you can learn anything you want for free. The
internet, man, is available today. Like when I learned, I self-taught myself so much before the internet, right? Now it's like, dude, like no more encyclopedias. What?
And if you read something on the internet and you didn't understand it, all you do is put it into ChatGPT and say, explain it to me.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. Right.
Whole different world, man.
But here's the biggest decision. And as we wrap up here, Bradley, and I want to give everybody how to contact you. Okay. And I want them to be intrigued. We haven't got into exactly all the things that are there. Right. I don't even want to. Yeah. You go and do it.
Check it out.
You go check out Bradley Freedom and the Freedom People. Okay. But here's the one thing that I struggle with helping people with every day. Decide what you want.
Man.
Decide what you want. Like,
Yep.
what is your vision of your life? What does it look like? When I decided, hey, I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it.
Yep.
I didn't say I want to have a job that I work 8 hours a day. Like, no, I don't want to do that.
No.
Right. I mean, people always go, Jim, what exactly do you do? And I say, I help people. I free slaves. And they say, they laugh and they go, no, really, what do you do? And I said, that's what I do. I free slaves
Hmm.
every day. And
Yep.
and you do too, right?
Yeah.
We free
Right. Yeah.
slaves, right? But on this wall, this is like that paint that you can do the dry erase on, is everything I want to do, everything I want to be, and everything I want to have. And then below it is my vision, right?
Yeah.
I have my 3-year vision on there. I have my 10-year vision on there, and it's there in front of me every day. And guess what I do when people go, I can't come up with my vision. Well, I redo it. I redo it all the time. Like all
Yeah.
the time. This is a living thing,
Yeah.
and it changes. And
Yeah, it has to, man. As you start accomplishing things that do, because you start to grow, right? I mean, and
yeah,
once you start to plan your life, instead of like having your life planned by TVs or whatever, who knows, just
yeah,
even if not TV, just not setting goals. It's hard to score without a goal. You know what I mean? But not setting this, and imagine your ideal life. Imagine that. Like what you're doing, that's more powerful than, and you'll have all that and more. Like ex, uh, way,
more
way
than
more.
you can imagine. I
More
always said that too. I love that you said that. Because
yeah.
you'll have more than you thought. You can't dream big enough. We
No.
as humans, okay, and again, in my belief system, I'm the child of the king of the universe. So if I'm the child of the king of the universe, why would I think small? Why would I say, well, you know what? I just want to have my house. I just want to have a job. I just want my bills paid.
Yep.
No, I want it all. I
Yeah.
want everything.
And you deserve it. That's the thing. And
Absolutely.
that's the thing. But like the powers that be and how society is it's just so degrading, and you're not smart enough to be your own doctor. You're not,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, get out of here. I'm way more qualified. I have thousands of hours at this point. But even if you're just starting out, read for a week, you've got 5 times the knowledge of a medical doctor right now on nutrition. So there you
Absolutely.
go. You're more qualified than that guy.
Because they're very, you know what, I totally agree. And I'll tell you another quick story. So like I went to the doctor. I had like this test done, and I had something, and they did a CAT scan, and they said, oh, you have like a nodule in your lung, right?
Mm.
And I said, okay. So then they said, we're going to wait, we're going to do another thing. They did another thing, and this doctor, who I just didn't trust from the very beginning, he said, oh, this thing is doubled in size, and I want to do a biopsy. And if I don't like what I see in the biopsy, I'm going to remove half your lung. And
Yeah.
I said, well, hold on. First of all, if that's the case, you're not doing the surgery.
Right.
I'm going to the best. Right.
Yeah.
So I had a friend of a friend, and there's this thing in Tampa, Moffitt Cancer Center. Right.
Mhm.
So I go up there. This guy starts over, does all of his own tests. He goes, Jim, he had his resident guys leave the room, and he said, I want to show you something. This didn't grow. He said it didn't grow at all, because here's the image from before. Here's the image then. He said that was a money grab.
Mm.
Now think about it. There's somebody out there in this world that would take half of my lung so they can pay for their Ferrari.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Student loans, whatever they think they have to do. It's ridiculous, brother.
Yeah.
Dude, but that's actually going on. Isn't there some big case? I don't know. I don't watch the news often, but I saw something going around where this doctor just got in trouble in France. I
I
think
don't
wasn't
know.
it in France. Like he just got busted because he was doing surgeries that were not necessary on people for money. I
And
mean,
I'm not, look, I'm sure this is a minority on some of these
right,
surgeons,
right.
but my point is that if I just went along and said, okay, let's do that biopsy, and then,
Yep.
but this doctor told me that the nodules were from swimming. I grew up in California. I would go to the ocean from swimming in cold salt water. That if I grew up in Iowa, I would have nodules. Again, our environment is toxic in some ways, but
Yep.
they're not nodules that are going to kill me, right?
Right,
And
right.
and there's nothing to do to them or for
Right.
them. And so like it blows my mind that, but it starts putting a kid in the classroom, telling him he's got to get he or she has got to get straight A's, that you can be like you can change your gender, you can choose all this other stuff, and you don't have to be you.
Right.
You know, like it's not about you.
Right.
And and then just training them to be a good slave. And then when they get out of school, I mean, for me, it was, get good grades, work hard. I didn't want to do any of that. I hated school. I love to learn. I love to learn.
Right.
I hated school. All
Yeah.
right. Thinking
Well,
of
but
that.
that's what it is, man. It's the U.S. Inc. Columbine. So it's the Columbine for the U.S. Incorporation because that's how they generate revenue. There's a Department of the Revenue.
Yeah.
You know that Department of Revenue, and they have to continuously produce more revenue. That's why government continues to get bigger, and there's no mechanisms to make it smaller because
You know
it
how many
can't.
thousands of people work at the Department of Education? Tell me what they do. I have,
Indoctrinate the kids
yes,
so
sir.
that they can be good little slaves and just pay their taxes and do what their doctor says.
Yeah,
Without
exactly.
and lawyer without a question. And that's the thing that there's, and I know we're out of time, but
Yeah.
I could go
We
on
could
and
go,
on
I mean,
about all this stuff.
honestly, Nick is right. I could talk to you all day long about this stuff. And Bradley, what I would say is, let's do some workshops. Let's do some, things together in the future for our community, for your community, because I think that sometimes it is that decision, but to get you the confidence to make the decision,
Hmm.
you need to hear it over and over again. And somebody said this to me in the last 3 months, and I'm reminding myself this over and over again. People need to be reminded more than they need to be educated.
Hmm.
And what I mean by that is, like, they remember this is why we're doing this. Remember, because they fall in, the noise will pull them away from the signal. And
Right.
it's that negative energy, and then it builds momentum. And then pretty soon, that's why people that lose weight, they gain it all back
Yep.
because they've done something that they haven't made the decision to change their lifestyle. They're not really changing. They're just depriving themselves.
Mhm.
They're depriving their fat self of food. They become skinny and they go, but I want to live like I was when I was eating too much.
Yeah, it's part of like being self-hatred. It's actually a
It is.
self-hatred thing because you just think, God, I'm such a piece of crap. And like they're telling me I need to do these things. So I'm gonna go do it and I'm gonna suffer because I should suffer. And then right. And it's
Yeah.
sad. It really is sad. But they're
It's
trying
sad.
to follow, they're going to the grocery store and buying the same crap. It's a losing battle. You know what I mean?
So I gotta, like I said, we can talk about this. Heather, good luck editing. My Dr. Mel Irvine, she grows all her own food, everything else, just like you were talking about. But she works with people on hormones. Okay, like because of all the, because of she sees 20 or men and women that are in their 20s, men that have testosterone levels of under 100 in their 20s.
Yeah. Yep.
It's all because of the food. You got to find the right team of people to make you healthier and healthier and healthier. Totally. I do my blood work with her. She gives me, like all my supplements, everything else. And I can tell you that if you're under 50 and your friends go, man, when you hit 50, you got these, I'm telling you, it's BS. I'm 59 years old. I'm getting better. I feel better than I did when I was 39. I'm getting better and better every month. So it's possible. Not true.
You're doing it. You're doing it.
It's not true that you're going to, I hit the golf ball. I hit a drive the other day and my friends were like shocked and it was like 309. Right.
Wow.
And
that's a good drive.
Yeah. And I'm like, I work out 6 days a week. I get 8 hours of sleep, or at least 7 every night. I do mindfulness. I sit in my sauna. I get a massage every week. I stretch every week. I do all of the things, and they go, I don't need to do that.
No, you don't. You're right. You don't. It's whatever reality you want to. But what's funny is last little thing here is the first whole life policy that I ever bought.
Yeah.
The guy asked me, he's like, well, how long do you expect to live? And I told him 120. That was my number to it. I was like, cause I truly believe that. And, I'm 46 and I'm super, I do my same thing, man. My new sauna is being installed right now. Hot sauna, right? The infrared dry sauna.
Yep.
It's a game changer. So I haven't had health insurance most of my adult life, right?
Yeah.
Only when I worked for a place or the military and stuff like I
Yeah.
but other than that, I'm my own doctor. And that's something that you're showing right there is that you have all these people that you consult, but you're
Yeah.
your own general practitioner. You're
Absolutely.
your own, you own that shit. You know what I
Yep.
mean? That's the most important thing is that you own it. And that's what we're here to really try and teach people, right?
And the reason she's my doctor is because if I say to her, I want to do this and this is why I want to do it, we have a conversation. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I'm trying to um I'm trying to put on 6 pounds of muscle. Let's talk about food. Let's talk about how many, like what I need to do differently. Let's talk about progressive overload. Let's talk about, but I can't do that if I'm sore and I'm inflamed.
You can't move. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go, like I'll be the guy going, yeah, once you hit 50, it all goes downhill.
Yeah.
But
Right. Right.
I love the things that you said. We are so in alignment. But one of the things I'm going to go back to, and then I got two questions for you. But play it 10 times if you have to. Bradley's saying you just make a decision. And decision, how did you say it again, Bradley? Decision is eliminating any other option.
Yeah. To decide. Yep.
Yeah, to decide. So study that today and make a decision. Audience, just do me one favor for you. Make one decision today. Just one decision. I don't care what it is, but make a decision today and take action on it. And that's all you have to do to get started. Remember, 17 seconds for positive energy to attract more positive energy, 68 seconds to create momentum. And we all know once you have momentum, it's over. You're on your way. Okay, Bradley, what's the best advice anybody's ever given you?
The best advice I was ever given. That's a really good question. That your imagination, that your imagination is actually what creates your reality. Your outside is a direct mirror reflection of the inside. So if you're if you're trying to change your outside world by changing the outside, it's akin to standing in front of a mirror and trying to change the reflection by yelling at the reflection. Right?
Yeah.
So that and again, that's just that self-empowerment, man. Once you know that you can become and do and again, imagine your ideal life. Imagine your ideal life and then just imagine it before you go to sleep each night. All the stuff you're doing, that's extra sauce that just sets that stuff on fire, but like that will change your world. Just thinking those positive lovely thoughts, right? And that back to that, darkness can't exist with the light, right? So
Yeah.
it's more of like walking into a room and just flipping on the switch. As soon as you flip on that switch, make that decision, the darkness has to dissipate. It can't exist.
So one thing that I read, Bradley, and I love this, and I know you're going to love this too, is there is no such thing as darkness. There's
Mm,
only absence of light.
yeah,
And
exactly.
so
Yeah.
in my belief system, that's God, right? So the only time that you're dark, the only time that you don't know what to do is when you are turning your back or moving away from God. If you take one step towards God, you will get lighter and lighter and lighter. And again, you can eliminate the darkness in your life or the negative energy. It's funny what you said, and I use JD Rockefeller as an example, but also when I was a kid, there was a period of time where I was homeless and I would sleep in this field behind the Moose Lodge. And I would look up at these houses, and they were always really nice houses. And I would think, why don't I have that? Like, what do they know that again, that I don't know?
Yep.
And it's like I visualized so that I could go to sleep. I visualized living in this big house, and I was dumb because I visualized it in my old neighborhood. Like
Sure, sure,
I'm
sure,
going to
sure. But
scrape
I mean,
all
that
these
you start
houses. I'm going to build this mansion right here. uh,
totally.
but
Yeah.
but you know what? It didn't matter because I had that vision in my head. I made a decision right then in that field. This is not my life.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know
Yep.
how it's going to happen,
Yep.
but it's not going to be my life. All right. Last question. If God came down from heaven and only allowed you to retain the knowledge that you've received from one book, and you could say the Bible, but it's got to be a specific book in the Bible.
Mm.
What book would you keep the knowledge from?
Awakened imagination. by Neville Goddard. I don't know if you've ever heard of Neville Goddard, but
yeah, I have. I've got all of like that. You know that one book that's the combined.
His complete works.
I,
I've got that up.
yeah, I could point where it's at.
Yeah. I can't see myself. So, but anyway, again, and I'm kind of in that space where it's just, I'm really into imagination and creating. That's where we've been the past 5 years. We've got chain recorder, decentralized solutions, like for now a decentralized trustless public record on the Bitcoin blockchain. Like we got some really cool stuff going on right now. And it's all because it was imagined first. And it was impossible 5 years ago. What we're doing now was impossible. And just technologically speaking, we didn't have that. It didn't exist what we're doing now. And so things had to actually create in my outer world, right? From just because we thought things up. And that's why engineers, and that's why because we create artists, like the creation, right? And that's where, that's why I would choose. Yeah.
Neville. I love it. I love
anything from Neville.
And I was going to say that too but I love that. We're going to put that in the show notes. Bradley, how do people find you and start their journey with Freedom People?
Yeah. thefreedompeople.org. Yep. So thefreedompeople.org. You can go there, and from the landing page, or the homepage, you can kind of go anywhere you like. The transformation course is on there. We're about to start our inner circle membership, which is really cool. So we're going to do these 5-pillar freedom transformation calls, and then we'll have extended time behind the membership where you can come and talk to these, get to know the guest speakers a little bit more. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but we've invited you guys back. So Nick, not you weren't there, but Nick actually did the wealth pillar last time because what you guys do, married with the trusts, we have trusts like Safe Harbor Trust that we set up for people, that mixed with that, and then mixed with our Bitcoin treasury solutions. Now it's where it's,
talk for 2 days about Bitcoin too. Like, do you know Jimmy's song? You know that name?
Yeah, I know that name.
Thank God for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
All right. He wrote a book. His name is Jimmy Song. He wrote a book called "Thank God for Bitcoin."
For Bitcoin, yeah.
But something Jimmy says in that book, and I modeled this, i.e., I stole this, Jimmy, is if the government is debasing our money, and we exchange time for money, and on this earth our lives are measured in time, then in essence, the government stealing our money by debasing it is stealing our time, i.e. stealing our lives, which is the very definition of slavery, which is the opposite of freedom. So go to thefreedompeople.org and make that decision today. Okay, so one action you can take today after listening to this show, go there and check it out. That's all I'm asking you to do. Check it out. And it may be right for you, may not be right for you. But Bradley, we've gone like 50 minutes, and they tell me after 20 minutes, people don't listen. But if you're not listening still, then you're not listening. So we're going to end this the way we end every show, with the incredible words of Earl Nightingale and the strangest secret, which is whatever you think, you'll become.
Key to success and the key to failure. We become what we think about. Now let me say that again. We become what we think about.
Thanks for listening to the Breakaway Wealth Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to this show wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. If you want to start increasing your wealth building ability right now, go to community.createtailwind.com to join our free online community and get access to free, in-depth training designed to help you build real, lasting wealth. See you next week.